You didn't skip this video by accident. There are millions of videos online right now, millions of voices talking, warning, shouting for attention, yet somehow, out of all of them, you stopped here. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. And according to Archangel Michael, that timing changes everything. Because there is something approaching your life right now that is so unexpected, so powerful, that heaven itself has been trying to prepare you before it arrives. This message is not for everyone. Some people will click away in the first minute because their spirit isn't ready to hear it. Others will laugh because they only trust what their eyes can see. But you stayed, and Michael says your staying is the sign. Because what is about to happen next in your life will look impossible to everyone around you, until it happens. Before we go deeper, I need you to do something strange. Pause for 1 second and think about the hardest battle you fought recently. Not the one you told people about, the hidden one, the silent crying, the nights you felt abandoned, the pressure in your chest. The moments you smiled in front of others while your soul was exhausted. Now listen carefully. Archangel Michael says heaven saw every second of it, and the reason your breakthrough is arriving now, is because you passed a test without even realizing you were being tested. You were watched during the season when nobody clapped for you. You were observed during the moments you almost gave up. And according to this message, your refusal to quit activated something in the spiritual realm that cannot be reversed anymore. That's why strange signs have been happening lately. The repeating numbers, the random memories, the sudden emotional waves, the feeling that something is about to change even though nothing around you has changed yet. That feeling isn't anxiety, it's spiritual movement. Michael says the atmosphere around your life has shifted in the last 7 days. Something that was delayed has started moving. Something that belonged to you but was blocked, is now being released. And this next part is important. There is a person connected to your destiny who is about to reappear unexpectedly. You have thought about them recently even if you tried not to. You felt their energy before sleeping. You heard songs that reminded you of them. You suddenly remembered conversations from years ago. That was not random. Michael says souls begin to recognize movement before events physically happen. But this is not just about romance. No, this person carries information connected to your next season. And whether they return to apologize, reconnect, or reveal the truth, their arrival becomes the trigger that pushes your life into a completely different direction. This is why the enemy tried so hard to drain you recently. Did you notice how heavy things became for no reason? How people started misunderstanding you? How your motivation suddenly disappeared? How delays multiplied at the exact moment you were trying to improve your life? Michael says attacks increase right before elevation, because darkness can sense what's coming even before humans do. And something enormous is approaching you now, not small, not temporary, not symbolic, big, so big that if heaven showed you the full picture today, you would not believe it. That's why you've only been given fragments, little signs, little nudges, little whispers. Because your future arrived in spirit before it arrives physically. Listen. There is a reason you survived things that should have broken you. Other people collapsed under less pressure than what you carried. Yet somehow, you kept moving. Even while tired. Even while doubting. Even while hurting. Michael says your endurance shocked the spiritual realm. And because of that endurance, a reward has been authorized over your life. A reward no person can cancel. But here's the warning. Not everyone around you can go where you're going. This next season will expose hidden jealousy around you. Watch carefully who becomes uncomfortable when good things start happening for you. Michael says there are people who smiled in your face while secretly hoping you would stay stuck forever. And the moment your breakthrough appears, their true energy will reveal itself automatically. Do not fear this. Exposure is protection. Sometimes God removes people by revealing them. And if certain relationships suddenly start collapsing after this message, don't chase them. Some exits are heaven answering prayers you forgot you prayed. Now I need you to focus because this next revelation is powerful. Michael says there is a financial shift approaching your life. Unexpected money, unexpected opportunity, unexpected favor. But it won't arrive the way you imagined. The door you kept begging to open may remain closed because a bigger door is already opening somewhere else. That rejection you cried over? Protection. That delay? Redirection. That silence? Preparation. You thought heaven forgot you, while heaven was rearranging entire timelines for your benefit. And this next part gave me chills. Michael says within the next season of your life, you will witness one moment so shocking, so undeniable, that even the people who doubted your destiny will be forced to admit something supernatural is happening around you. A phone call, a meeting, an announcement, a sudden reversal. One moment changes everything. And strangely, it begins after you stop chasing validation from people who never appreciated your worth. Because your breakthrough is connected to separation. You had to outgrow certain environments first. You had to stop shrinking yourself first. You had to stop begging for crumbs first. Michael says you were never created to survive on tiny blessings. You were created for overflow. But overflow requires capacity. That's why the pressure became so intense. Heaven was stretching you emotionally for what's coming next. And if you've been feeling emotionally disconnected lately, listen carefully. That numbness was not weakness. It was recovery. Your spirit has been healing from disappointments you never properly processed. And now, you are entering a season where your energy returns stronger than before. People will notice the difference in your eyes. They'll feel your presence before you speak. Because something ancient inside your spirit is waking up again. Michael says your confidence is returning. Your clarity is returning. Your power is returning. And once it fully returns, nobody who underestimated you will recognize you anymore. Now here's where the message becomes urgent. There is a decision approaching your life soon. It may look small at first. A conversation, an invitation, a chance, a move, a risk. But Michael says that decision becomes the doorway to your next chapter. And this is why you were guided to this video today. Because heaven wanted to warn you before the opportunity appears. Do not let fear talk you out of what your spirit already recognizes. You have spent too many years doubting yourself. Too many years overthinking. Too many years asking permission to become who you were meant to be. That season is ending now. And if your heart started beating faster hearing that, it's because your spirit knows this message is real. Michael says your biggest mistake would be treating this next season like every other season. It is not. This one changes your identity forever. The old version of you cannot enter where you're going. That's why certain habits are falling apart. That's why your tolerance for fake people disappeared. That's why you suddenly crave peace more than attention. Transformation already started. Quietly, internally, spiritually, and soon, physically. Now let me reveal something most people will never understand. Your enemies accidentally helped your destiny. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every delay taught you patience. Every heartbreak taught you strength. Michael says what tried to destroy you accidentally trained you. So stop mourning the years you lost. Nothing was wasted. Even your pain carried purpose. Especially your pain. And there's someone watching this right now who almost gave up recently. You smiled yesterday, but deep down, you were exhausted. You wondered if your prayers even mattered anymore. Michael says this message is your answer. You were never abandoned. You were being positioned. There is a huge difference. Positioning feels like isolation at first. It feels confusing, lonely, slow. But isolation often happens right before elevation. Even arrows must be pulled backward before launching forward. And Michael says your launch season has begun. That's why your spirit has been restless. Deep down, you know your current reality can't be your final reality. You feel it. Something bigger keeps calling your name. And you're right. Because according to this message, there is a hidden assignment attached to your life that is about to activate publicly. People who ignored you will suddenly notice you. Doors that stayed shut for years will suddenly open. And opportunities will arrive faster than you can explain. But stay humble when it happens. Because your blessing is not only for you. Michael says your breakthrough will become proof for other people that miracles still exist. You are going to inspire people without trying. And strangely enough, the very thing you were ashamed of may become the testimony that changes someone else's life. Nothing is accidental anymore. Not even this video. Now listen carefully because this next part is critical. Michael says there are two timelines fighting over your future right now. One timeline is built from fear, doubt, procrastination, people-pleasing. The other timeline is built from courage, faith, movement, trust. And the decision you make after hearing this message determines which future grows stronger. That's why this video appeared today and not 6 months later. Timing matters. Spiritually, you are standing at a doorway. And once you walk through it, your life will never fully return to what it used to be. Now I want you to remember something powerful. The enemy attacked your mind because your mind carries vision. The enemy attacked your confidence because your confidence unlocks action. The enemy attacked your peace because your peace carries power. None of those attacks were random. They were evidence. Evidence that your future is valuable. And Michael says something incredible is about to happen when you least expect it. Not when you're obsessing. Not when you're forcing. Not when you're panicking. It arrives when you finally surrender fear. That's when the miracle accelerates. And yes, I said miracle, because logic alone cannot explain what's coming next. There are blessings approaching your life that no human being can take credit for. Divine alignment, divine timing, divine restoration. This is why you had to survive the confusion first. You were being separated from the version of yourself that could not handle your future. And although you cried during the process, one day you will thank heaven for every closed door. Because the closed doors protected your destiny from people who only wanted access to your energy, not your soul. Michael says your circle is changing now. Your environment is changing. Your mindset is changing. And your reality is about to follow. But protect your energy carefully during this next phase. Not every person deserves access to your plans anymore. Move quietly. Pray quietly. Build quietly. Because some blessings grow stronger in silence. Now here comes the final revelation. Michael says there is a specific moment approaching very soon where everything suddenly makes sense. The delays, the confusion, the heartbreak, the waiting. You will look back and realize none of it was punishment. It was preparation for something greater than you imagined. And when that realization hits you, you will cry differently. Not from pain, from relief. Because after everything you survived, your soul will finally understand why you had to endure the storm. This is the turning point. This is the shift. This is the moment your spirit was waiting for. And Michael says the reason this blessing is coming now is because you didn't skip. You stayed long enough to receive the message. You stayed long enough to hear the warning. You stayed long enough for your spirit to recognize what heaven has been trying to tell you all along. Something big is coming to you. And this time, nothing will stop it. But the message from Archangel Michael is not finished. Because after the breakthrough comes the battle nobody warns you about. The battle of becoming the new version of yourself without returning to the old one. And Michael says this is where many people lose their blessing, not because the blessing disappears, but because fear convinces them they are unworthy of it. Listen carefully. When your life begins changing, there will be moments where you feel uncomfortable receiving what you once begged for. Love may finally appear, and you may question it. Money may finally arrive, and you may fear losing it. Opportunities may finally open, and you may hesitate to walk through them. Why? Because struggle became familiar. Pain became routine. Survival became your identity. But Michael says heaven is breaking that identity now. You are not meant to spend your whole life recovering from wounds. You are meant to rise beyond them. And this next revelation is urgent. There is someone around you who secretly studies your energy, not because they admire you, but because they cannot understand why you continue rising after everything you've been through. Michael says your resilience confuses people. They thought rejection would break you. They thought loneliness would silence you. They thought betrayal would destroy your confidence forever. But instead, you became stronger. And now the same people who underestimated you are quietly watching your transformation in disbelief. Do not seek revenge. Your elevation is enough. Because when heaven lifts someone, no human can truly block it. And according to Michael, your elevation has already started spiritually. That's why your intuition has become sharper recently. You feel things before they happen. You sense people's intentions faster. You notice energy shifts instantly. This is not coincidence. Your discernment is increasing because your next season requires spiritual awareness. The level you are entering cannot be navigated blindly. Now pay attention to this part because it may explain everything you've been feeling lately. Michael says your soul has been grieving a version of life that was never meant to happen. Think about that. Some of your sadness came from morning dreams that heaven intentionally prevented. You cried over doors that would have destroyed your peace. You begged for people who secretly carried chaos. You fought for situations that would have delayed your purpose for years. And because you couldn't see the full picture at the time, you called it heartbreak. But Michael calls it rescue. This changes everything. Because once you realize heaven was protecting you instead of punishing you, your entire perspective shifts. Suddenly the waiting feels holy. Suddenly the silence feels meaningful. Suddenly the delay becomes evidence that something greater was being prepared behind the scenes. And now, that hidden preparation is almost complete. Michael says the next chapter of your life begins with one unexpected confirmation. A sign so personal, so undeniable, that it removes the final layer of doubt from your spirit. You may hear specific words repeated. You may encounter the same message multiple times. You may meet someone who unknowingly confirms what heaven already whispered to you privately. When it happens, do not ignore it, because heaven often speaks twice before major transformation. And I need to warn you about something else. The closer you move toward your breakthrough, the more distractions will appear. Sudden drama, unexpected temptations, emotional confusion, old people reappearing from nowhere. Michael says not every returning person deserves re-entry into your life. Some people return only because they sense your energy changing. They feel your elevation before they understand it. And energy attracts attention. So be careful. Not every apology carries purity. Not every compliment carries good intentions. Not every opportunity carries peace. Your spirit must lead now, not desperation. This is the season where discernment protects destiny. Now listen closely because this next revelation is powerful. There is a hidden gift inside you that you have underestimated your entire life. Something natural to you, but extraordinary to others. Maybe it's your voice, your creativity, your ability to comfort people, your wisdom, your intuition, your leadership. Michael says what comes naturally to you was never random, it was assigned. And the reason your life felt difficult for so long is because powerful callings often grow inside painful environments. Pressure created depth inside you. Pain sharpened your empathy. Loneliness strengthened your connection with heaven. You thought life was crushing you, but it was carving capacity into your spirit. Because the assignment connected to your life is bigger than you know. That's why ordinary paths never satisfied you. You kept trying to fit into spaces that suffocated your soul. You kept shrinking your dreams to make others comfortable. But Michael says your spirit was never designed for smallness. And now heaven is removing the ceiling you placed over yourself. This next season requires expansion. Expansion in thinking. Expansion in confidence. Expansion in faith. And yes, expansion can feel terrifying, because growth demands leaving familiar pain behind. But familiar pain is still pain. Remember that. Now there's something else Michael needs you to understand. The reason you've been feeling emotionally detached from certain people lately is because your spirit already knows who cannot follow you into the next chapter. Some connections expire spiritually before they end physically. That's why conversations feel empty now. That's why certain environments drain you instantly. That's why your soul craves solitude more than noise. You are changing internally before your reality changes externally. And honestly, some people will not understand the new version of you. Let them misunderstand. Transformation is often lonely before it becomes visible. But the loneliness will not last forever. Michael says your soul tribe is being prepared right now. The right people, the right connections, the right alignments. People who won't force you to dim your light to belong. People who recognize your spirit instead of competing with it. And when these connections arrive, everything changes faster. Because destiny multiplies through alignment. Now here comes one of the strongest revelations of this entire message. Michael says there is a moment approaching where you will finally see how close you came to giving up before your breakthrough arrived. And when that realization hits, you will understand why the enemy fought your mind so aggressively. Because if you had quit too early, you would have missed the very season heaven was preparing for you. Think about that. You survived long enough to arrive at the edge of transformation. That alone is a miracle. There were nights your soul was exhausted, days you felt numb, moments you wanted to disappear from everyone. But something inside you refused to die. That something was purpose. Purpose kept your heart beating during battles your mouth never spoke about. And Michael says purpose is about to reward your endurance publicly. The same people who overlooked you will suddenly recognize your value. Not because you changed for them, but because heaven is amplifying what was hidden. This is why your story is about to become powerful. Not because your life was easy, but because you survived what should have destroyed you. People connect to survival. People trust scars more than perfection. And the wisdom born from your suffering is about to help others heal too. Now let me reveal something deeply important. Michael says your next blessing will require courage, not comfort. You cannot carry old fears into new dimensions. You cannot keep doubting yourself every time opportunity appears. And you cannot keep asking small questions when heaven is preparing large answers. The season of playing tiny is over. You've hidden enough. You've apologized for your existence enough. You've delayed your own growth enough. Now heaven is asking one question. Will you finally believe you are worthy of the life prepared for you? Because the moment you truly believe it, everything accelerates. Opportunities move faster. Healing deepens faster. Manifestation strengthens faster. Belief opens doors fear keeps locked. And Michael says tonight, something shifts permanently inside your spirit. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Tonight. A chain breaks. A fear dissolves. A burden lifts. You may not physically see it immediately, but spiritually, movement has already begun. That heaviness you carried for years, it's losing power. That cycle that kept repeating, it's ending. That voice telling you you're not enough, it's being silenced. Because heaven is restoring your identity. Not the broken identity created by trauma. The real identity. The powerful one. The chosen one. And before this message ends, Michael says there is one final thing you must never forget. The reason something big is coming to you now is not because you were perfect. It's because you remained standing after battles that should have taken you out. Your endurance became your testimony. Your survival became your qualification. And your refusal to skip this message today became confirmation that your spirit was ready to hear the truth. You are closer than you think. Closer to peace. Closer to answers. Closer to breakthrough. Closer to the life you prayed for in silence. And when everything finally unfolds, you will realize this moment right here was the beginning of the shift. The exact moment heaven warned you that something big was already on its way.